everybody and welcome to today's video. I'm back and we're ready and we're roaring to go. How exciting. So I know it's been a while, I know that things haven't been normal pretty much the whole of 2017, but they should now hopefully be back to normal if I have a normal anymore. And I thought the best way to start that would be to just carry on as normal. What I would have filmed had life been normal. So today's video is about my placement experience. I have been on placement, in case you didn't know, since April 10th. I finished on the 18th of May and I am now ready to impart my news. So without further ado, let's get started. So there are some basic things. Well, first of all, I am an occupational therapy student. That's just for any new subscribers, which I have seen, so thank you for subscribing. Yeah, I'm an occupational therapy student and I, on my course, do 4 placements. My first one was back in October, November time. I will link that in the and the description box below. That was 3 weeks, and this last placement was 6 weeks. But with bank holidays it actually ended up being more like 5, but never mind. I then have another one in my second and another one in my third year. So this was my second placement. I'm halfway through technically my placements now. That's kind of scary. So basic information. I was in the community. We went to people's houses, we went to different activities at hospitals in the sort of area that the team covered, and it was very good. It was just like last time being in the community, I guess. I have a feeling that I probably won't do another community placement, so it's been two lots in one go. This time though, I was in uniform. I was in my white tunic and green trousers, and I did post a picture on Instagram, so go check that out if you haven't already followed me on Instagram, and my links are always in the description box below on every single video for all my social media. I worked in an MDT, which is called a multidisciplinary team. So it wasn't just OTs where I was based. There was also physios, there was a SALT, speech and language therapist, I love that name, and there was also SRA, which stands for Stroke Rehabilitation Assistant, so there was a couple of them as well. I did spend some time working with each of the different sort of people and their roles. Didn't just spend all my time working in OT, I also kind of spent a day or two with speech and language, with some physios and with some SRAs. My working day was 8:30 till 4:30, and I even ended up actually working one of the weekends. The service that I was in was 7 days, and so but I decided to work one of the weekends and had my loo days in the week. I was, however, on a physical placement. Last placement I was in mental health, and this time I was on physical, and I have definitely decided that physical health is definitely more of the road that I would like to take. I just don't believe I would be very good in mental health personally. Yeah, basically. Another thing is I didn't have my car this time. I had a car last time, but not this time. I didn't need it, and I just didn't need it, so I didn't have a car. And I did live in York and I commuted and I used public transport to get there, and then when I got to my placement office area, so to speak, in a location which will remain disclosed, I used my educator's car. Well, I didn't drive it, but my educator or the other people that I was with, we would go and drive, or she would drop me off places, or I would get public transport basically. So yeah, that's the basic stuff. Now moving into the nitty gritty. So I was on a rehabilitation placement for people that had had a stroke. So I did spend some time on the ward. I spent a day, or was it a day or two? On the ward, so I could see sort of the stroke pathway from stroke to rehab ward to like home, if that is the pathway that people take. Sometimes they don't have to take that pathway, but sometimes they do take that pathway, which is fine. So I spent some time on the ward, and that was really good. Different perspective, different sort of way of seeing things. Like, it was a more washing and dressing based, and what can people do, and in the community it was more of a helping people do it at home, changes they needed to their house, and just sort of building up kind of strength and encouragement to use different sides of their body and different things. Whilst we were there, the team that I was in actually lead some rehabilitation groups, and I went to a upper limb group, and it was really nice to go because it was every week and it was the whole time that I was there, and so I built a rapport really well with the people that went to the group, and that was really good, and I'm really glad that I was able to do that, and it was really moving at the end, saying I won't see you again, best of luck. So I'm really glad that I was able to do that. Another thing that really stands out to me is that this placement I actually visited a patient on my own, which probably sounds really stupid to anybody that's been in the sort of profession for a long time, and even to people that aren't sort of in the profession at all, but it's actually quite a big thing suddenly being sort of, I agreed to do it, I wasn't just flung into it, I wanted to do it, to go to a patient's house completely on my own, and do exercises and talk to them and practice things, and you know, it's really doesn't sound like much, but it can be quite daunting, the idea that, you know, if this patient suddenly asks you or comes up with this sort of thing that, oh, I've got pain or something, you have to sort of think on your feet. Anything could go wrong, but a lot of things could go right, and they did, and it was really good to be able to do that. I am so proud of myself for being able to go to the patient's house and do that on my own. It wasn't the hardest patient, I admit. They were due to be discharged in about a month, but it was really good. I'm glad that I got to do that. So things that I did include an SPS, which is basically an initial assessment with a patient. So going to a patient's house, they've been discharged from the ward, and seeing how the team can help them now that they're back at home, learning what their difficulties are, learning where they where there aren't difficulties, learning sort of from an OT perspective what occupations they used to do and how we can get back into that, whether that's work, if that's driving, if that's just general like gardening or reading. Some people, you know, will struggle with that after a stroke, and so I did that. Other things that I did include like sit to stand exercises, which is literally a sit to stand exercise, but for somebody that's in a wheelchair that's really important. Other things include like upper limb exercises, so sort of working on sort of muscle strength and range of movement in sort of the shoulders, hands, arms, wrists, all the sort of bones from the sort of upper limb. I didn't really see anybody with sort of lower limb, but I think that was just because of the sort of time that I was there. But there are cases, obviously, in stroke where that occurs too, but none of the patients that I saw had that sort of difficulty. I did things like walking with a patient on a wheeled walking frame, WWF, which is basically for the general public a Zimmer frame, or one of those sort of, it's just a frame basically, and walking stick and quad stick, which is a stick which looks like a walking stick but it has like 4 legs at the bottom rather than just one, and sort of working with patients to use them, sort of grade themselves, so maybe they're on the walking frame but they want to get down to a quad stick or just a stick and things like that. Other things that I did include a MOCA assessment, which stands for Montreal Cognitive Assessment, I believe. If you want to search what that stands for, just type in MOCA on Google Images and it will show you what it is. It's a standardised assessment, so that was quite pressurising to do because it has to be done in a certain way, and I did practice it a lot on my family and flatmates and friends before I did it on patients, and that was good too. I'm trying to think what else I did. Bartell scores. I still don't know who came up with that, but that was one of the easiest and first things that I did. However, I spent a lot of my time in a car driving because it was a community placement, but I also spent a lot of my time writing notes and at team meetings and goal setting and different sort of helping out just generally with admin that needs doing. The team was short-staffed, so I tried to step in and help when I could. Yeah, writing notes. I've improved on my note writing. It's kind of, I find it scary writing notes because you think about it from the perspective that this note could go to court if there was a trial against sort of anything. What you write down goes to a courtroom and can be sort of judged and evaluated. So that sort of scares me a bit. But as one person pointed out, that she's said that the chances are whatever you write probably wouldn't be what you need in court anyway, so try not to worry about that, and the cases of that happening are very small. But yeah, a lot of the time is spent writing notes. It's ridiculous. Every single thing that you do has to be written down. Everything. And pretty much the final thing that I did was sort of look at equipment for people. So issues of getting onto a stair lift, and I spent a day pretty much trying to figure out a stair lift solution for a patient that had a really narrow staircase. Different sort of equipment for patients that had lost the use of one of their upper limbs, so they couldn't use their left or right hand. Simple thing like a bread and butter board, you can search that. Handwriting, the grips that you use as a kid, they can really help adults who've had a stroke write again. Different cutlery, different kind of drinking apparatus, different speech things as well, like different apps and things that you can use nowadays to improve your coordination if you've got cognitive impairments from a stroke, or your speech, sort of building up your speech again if you've lost that in a stroke. And generally a lot of time is spent learning what a stroke is. So I knew what a stroke was before, and I knew what some of the symptoms and things were to look out for, but it was really honestly like eye-opening to just learn about everything to do with this stroke. And I still don't know things, which is fair enough, I'm an OT student, but honestly it's been such a learning curve, and I've really enjoyed it. And that ends this video. I really wish my whole degree was placement. It's not, but I wish it was. I enjoy placement so much, but I guess that is a good thing, because it means that when I come to do placement I won't be bored of it, and it means that I will clearly enjoy my job, which I guess is a good thing too. Thank you so much for watching. Here endeth the end of my first year, because placement rounded off my year and I've now submitted my last assignments too. So thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye guys, TTFN.